So hello guys, welcome back to the Pepcoding. So in this video, we are going to discuss our next question, that is smallest substring of a string containing all the character of another strings. So basically in this question, we have given string 1 and string 2, right? And all the alphabet that are present into our strings are lowercase, okay? And we need to find a smallest substring of S1. So we need to find a smallest substring from S1 that containing all the characters from S2, okay? So that smallest substring contains all the characters of S2, and if no such a substring exists, then print blank string. Okay, so if it is not exist, then we need to print a blank string. So this type of two string that we have given, we need to find a substring into string 1. Okay, so this is a string 1 and this is a string 2. Okay, we need to find a smallest substring into S1, that means string 1, that contains all the characters from string 2. Okay, so for solving this question, we need a map, frequency map for both of the string. So firstly, we are storing the frequency of all the characters from string 2. So our frequency map 2 is this. Okay, frequency map 2. Let's say this is our map 2, and it contains all the characters for string 2. So A is 1 times, B for 2 times, C is also for 2 times, and D is for 1 time. Okay, now we are going to use again another frequency map for string 1. Okay, and we are using the acquire and release strategy here to solving this question. For solving this question, we need another one variable, that name is match count. Count. Okay, what is the work of match count? Okay, what is the work of match count? So match count represents that if we are acquiring this number of elements, if we are acquiring D for 1 time, B for 1 time, A for 1 time, then it says that if we are acquiring D, then we are going to increase our match count. So it matches the element from 1 to 2. So because of that, the elements are same in string 1 and string 2. We are going to increase our match count. The elements are matched. Okay, if for B, again we are going to increase. So we got two characters here. For A, we are going to increase our count, also count here. So we are saying that we got 3 match from string 1 and string 2. Okay, we got 3 matches. Now match count represent this. Now let's start with the acquire and release strategy here. So acquire pointer this, and this is the release pointer. Now from this point, let's remove this match count. For the first time, match count is 0, and it is come from dot. No one is there and match count is 0. Okay, now we need to acquire some elements, and after that our main strategy is acquire, work, and release. Okay, acquire, work, and release. So we are acquiring first element D for the first time. Is D is matched with, is this element is same from the string 2? Is string 1's D1 is same to the string 2's D1? Yes, it is. D1, that one contains how many number of times that character appears. So D1 here and D1 also here. So we are going to increase our count by 1, and it is increasing. It was increased by because of D's appear. Okay, after that we are acquiring some another element B1. Okay, B1. Now we are checking, is our HshMap 2, sorry, map 2, is our map 2 contains that B1? That means is our map, another map contains B? Yes, it is contains B. For the that in the second string, the B is comes for the 2 times. So B is repeated in the second map. So we are going to say increase the count, and it is increased because of B is appear. Okay, after that acquiring some another element, that is A for the first time. Now we are checking, is A is appeared into the second map or not? Yes, it is appeared, and its frequency is 1. So we are going to increase our match count. So it was increased because of A is appear, and A's frequency is also same. Now we are going to check for the E. Now we are putting that element into our map. Okay, but now we are going to check, Is this E is present into our second map? Is E is present into our string 2? No, E is as a character not present into our string 2. So basically, because of that, we are not going to increase our match count. Why? It is not present. Because it is not present, then we don't need to increase our match count here. Okay, after that, now we are acquiring C. Now C for the first time. Is C present into our string 2 or map 2? This is map 2 and this is map 1. Okay, is this C is present into our map 2? Yes. And how many number of times C is appear into that string? So it is appear for 2 times, and we got our C for the first time here. So increase the count of match count. So we got our one character also. Because of C, it was increased. Okay, now from this point to this point, we have a four number of match characters here that is appeared into our string 2. Okay, now again acquire one element. So B for the second time, B is appear for the second time. Now now we are again going to check with map 2. Map 1 is checking with map 2. What is B2? B for the second time is also present into string 2, that is map 2. Yes, B for the second time is also present into string 2 also and map 2 also. So we are going to increase our count, and it was increased because of B. Okay, so B's minimum requirement is fulfilled. Okay, B's minimum requirement is fulfilled by this. Now we are going to acquire another B here. Now B's count is B. Now we are going to check with map 2, where map 1 says that in my map B is appear for the 3 times. Okay, and map 2 says the your minimum requirement is 2. Because of that, we are not going to increase our match count. Why? Because from this string to this string, from D to B, we got B for 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And from this string to this string, we only want B for 2 times. So there is no other B here to match with that B. Okay, so because of that, we are not going to increase our match count. Okay, now at A, acquire A. So we are going to increase our A's count as 2. Now we are again going to check if A is present for the 2 times. A is present 2 times into our string 2. No, it is not present. So we are not going to increase our A's count, so match count. So now again B is appear. Again we are going to increase the B's count. Again B is for the 4 times. Now from this point to this point, uh, we got B for the 4 times, and in this string B is for only 2 times. So at this position, because of that, we are not going to increase our match count. Now we have a D. Okay, D. Now increasing the count of D. Now we are again going to check with map map 2. Is this character is present for 2 times? No, its minimum requirement is 1, and it is overlapping its limit. Now because of that, because of its overlapping, we are not going to increase our match count. Now I acquire C. Now acquiring C and checking that with map 2. Map 1 says I have C for 2 times. Do you have the C for 2 times? Yes. And what is the its maximum limit? So C's maximum limit is 2. Then we are going to increase our count by this, and it is increased by because of C. Okay. Now we have the same number of what we say we have the same number of characters present into our from this point to this point, that are also present into our string 2. Let's say again first. Okay, from this point to this point, we got all the characters that are present into our string 2. Let's say writing this substring from D to D first, after that B, A, E, C, B, A, B, D, C. So from this to this, we got all the characters that are present also into our string 2. So A is for 1 time, A is present here. B for 2 times, B's minimum requirement is 2 times. A's minimum requirement is 1 time. C's minimum requirement is 2 times. D's minimum requirement is 1 time. So A is present at the first time. A is present for the 2 times, so minimum requirement is 1, so it passed this. B's minimum requirement is 2, so B is present at 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, C's requirement is 2, so C is present for the 2 times. Okay, and D's requirement is only 1 times, and D is present also 2 times. So from this point to this point, we can say that we got a substring. It contains all the characters that are present into our substring, string 2. So whenever this condition is here, at at this point, we got our acquire activity completed. Our activity completed for the first time here. Acquire strategy is completed for the first time. Now working property. We are collecting that string. What we are collecting here? We are collecting that strings first index and last index, and it got us because of we are going to use here acquire and release our I point here and j point here. Okay, because of that we got our I and j and our starting and ending index. Okay, so work is this. Now after doing this work, we need to release one element from our map. So releasing d from map, and let's remove d. D is for 2 times, so now D is for the 1 time. Now from this point to this point, again we can say that all the elements are present. uh, all the elements that are present into our string 2 is also in this substring. So again let's write it: b a t c b b a b d c. So it contains all the elements that are present into string 2. So A is present for 1 times, minimum requirement is 1. B is minimum requirement 2. C is minimum requirement 2. So C is also here, and D is minimum requirement 1 times, and D is also here. Okay. After that, after doing this work, we are going to store that starting index and ending index. And after that, we are releasing one element from our map. So B is released here. So B is present for the 3 3b is present into our from this point to this point, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so again we got smaller substring from this substring. So again we have this a b d c. Okay, so it's smallest from these two, and we are going to store its starting and ending index. After that again we are going to release this. Okay, now we are releasing a. So age count is 2, again releasing that by -1. So 2's age count is 1, and its minimum requirement is also true. So we can say that from this point to this point we got another string, and it contains all the elements that are present into our string 2. Okay, a is present for first 1 time, a is also here, b for 2 times, b for 2 times, c for 2 times, c for 2 times, d for 1 time, d for 1 time. Okay, it contains all the elements. So let's remove this. Okay, after that releasing e. After releasing e from this map, there is nothing to going to happen. We can also say that from this point to this point we have another step string that length is also smaller, that is c b d a b d c. So its length is smaller than this, and we can say that we got another smallest substring that contains all the elements that are present into our string 2. Okay, so updating the I and j from this point. Again, after that releasing c. At this point our c is only 1 time. Okay, so from this point to this point we have c for only 1 time. Now our here count is decreased by 1, and it is decreased because of c. Okay, we are releasing c and it is decreased. So at this point, from this point to this point only increases, after that decreases. So it is decreased by because of c is released. After that we need to acquire elements, so we are acquiring a. After acquiring a, we got a for 2 times, again a for 3 times. Now f for 1 times, but f is it is not present, so we are not going to increase our match count. Now b is for the 4 time, d for the second time, d again d for the third time, c for the second time. Again we got our c and its minimum requirement. Now it is true because we got our c here, so we are going to increase our c's count, and again increasing this. Okay, and it is increased because of c. Okay, after that uh, this is the string that we got till now. Okay, after that we can say that from this point to this point, okay, this point we got another substring that contains all the elements that are present into our array, sorry, string 2. Okay, a is for one time, minimum requirement a is present in this substring is for the 3 times, b for only 2 times, so b is present for 4 times, c for c is present for 2 times minimum requirement and c is for the only 2 times, d for the only 1 time, but d is present here for the 3 times. So its length is more than this, so because of that we are not going to say that it is the smallest substring. Okay, after that we need to release b from this, so releasing b here, b's count is 3, again releasing, again b's count is 2, again releasing the element from this. Now we are releasing a's count is 2. Okay, after that releasing b here, okay, releasing b. At this point the minimum quantity of b is 2, and at from this point to this from this substring, in this substring b is only appear for the 1 time. So the condition is false, so our match count is 5 and it is decreased because of b is released. Okay, b is released, so again this is happen. After that at this point we need to acquire some elements, so we are acquiring a, that is 3, acquiring b, again because of acquiring b we got our minimum requirement count, again we are going to increase our count, and it is increased because of b, again our count is like this. Okay, so our match count is this. At this point we got our match count at this point. Okay, and now again we are at this point. What is when we are doing our work, main work, if our match count is equal to string's length, string 2's length. Okay, so again we got our one substring that contains all the elements that are present into our string 2. Okay, but it is not going to update the our answer because this is the smallest substring. Okay, and it is the biggest substring here, so we need to release d. So releasing d to releasing c. Now we are releasing c. Again our match count is decreases, and it is decreased because of c. Again we got decreases match count here. Again we need to acquire elements, so we are acquiring g for the first time, b for the third time, and a for the fourth time. Okay, now string is ended. Now this type of approach we are going to use here, and from this point to this point we didn't got any substring that contains all the characters, all the elements that are present into our string 2. So if you have any idea out about how to do code for this, so I recommend you to pause the video here and do the code by yourself. And I'm assuming that you are pause the video from here, and now we are going to start with the code from this point. Okay, so let's start with the code from this file. Okay, so we are going to do a code into CPP. Let me do full screen and increasing the font size. Now first thing we need a map. Okay, map of character versus integer. Okay, map 1 and map 2. So we are initializing two maps at a time. Now first thing we need to fill the map 2 first, because we want that frequency for comparing that. Okay, so we are starting I from 0 to I less than h2 dot length. Okay, length. Okay, and I plus plus. Okay, after that we are putting that element into, first we need to find that string 2 of I. So for this we are going to increase the count. If it is present, then it will be increasing that count. If it is not present, then it will say that this element is appear for the first time and it count for the 1. Okay, now after that we need a string length that says us that is this type of string we got. After that smaller string, smaller string, smaller string, so it contains that length. That is string length is, firstly it is a maximum value. Okay, after that we are initializing a match count. Okay, it is firstly at a 0 point. After that we need to store that first index and last index, that means strings first index last index that we got our when we are acquiring and when we are releasing. So we need to store this into a array vector of int frequency answers, and its size is 2. Okay, after that we are going to traverse our string one. I is starting from 0 and j is also starting from 0. I should be less than s1 dot length. Okay, after that I plus plus. After that, after this thing, we need to calculating a character, that is s1 of I. Okay, s1 of I, and here we are going to check that character in our map 2. Why? Let's say if our map dot find this character, if it is not equals to map 2 of map2 dot find. Okay, map2 dot end, sorry, map2 dot end. If we got that element, then we are going to store this into our map1 with count increases. Now we are checking, is our we are store is that at the is this character that we are we are pushing that into our map, it's map1 of ch is less than equals to map2 of ch. If this condition is true, then we are going to increase our match count by 1. What did this say? What does this lines meaning? Map 1 contains that character and how many times it contains. If it is frequency is less than its frequency, which map 2 frequency, if the frequency map of 2 contains more number of the element that is present of map 1's count, then we are going to increase our match count. After doing this, we are checking with the while loop that match count is equals to s2 dot length. If it is equals to that, then we are going to we need to release the element here. So chj equals to s1 of j. Okay, now at this point we are going to check, is our map1 dot find. If this element is not present into our map, if this element is not present into our map, then we are not going to do anything. So nothing. In the else if part, we are going to check, is our map 1 of j is greater than map 2 of chj. If this condition is true, then we need to where it is, yes it is here. Okay, we need to decreases the character of cj frequency. If it is more than that, then while releasing the elements releasing the elements from map 1, then we are going to check if its frequency is greater than that frequency. If it is true, then we need to uh, release that. Okay, in the else part, from this point we are going to start with the proper work. That is, if this, what is this, says that its length, the substring's length, acquire point at here, release point at here. So it says that its string length is this. Okay, I minus j plus 1. So firstly string length is maximum infinite. Now we are updating that string length with this I minus j plus 1. Okay, after that we are going to updating our answer of frequency answer of array that contains I, 0th point contains 0th index contains I, and first index contains j. Okay, after doing this, we are going to map 1, we are going to decreases the frequency of that character from map 1. Okay, after doing that, we are going to check here. What we are going to check is our map of chj is less than 0. If it is minus, if its count is minus, then we are going to erase that count from that character from our map, that is chj. Okay, releasing that. After doing this thing, we are decreasing our match count also. Okay, and for the next iteration we are going to increase our j here. Okay, after doing this, we need to find our final answer. So this is the curly braces for loop. Okay, now it's okay. Now from this point, okay, this point we need to check is our first frequency answer array of 0 is equal to frequency answer of 1. If it is true, if it is equal and s2's length is not equals to 0, sorry, not equals to 1, that means our second string is empty. If it is empty, then we need to return this. Okay, if it is not, then we need to return the substring from the string 1. So s1 dot s sub str, that is first frequency answer of 1. It is a starting point from that string 1, and the ending point is plus 1 minus frequency answer of 1. Okay, so this is the ending point. So this is the full code. Okay, let's try to run it first. After that I will explain you of the code. So it got some error. So at the 39th line where it is here, the 39th line we are writing a map, so it is mp1. Okay, so again let's take. So we got the answer like this, but our sample output is this. Okay, 2prac, but we got another answer. So our code is right at some time. Let's check where it is. So we are updating our answer here. Okay, checking that, erasing that. Okay, okay, check here. Let's check here where it is. It got a sticker. So in this point we are checking if we got that map 2, then we are going to increase its count. If this condition is true, then we are going to increase its match count. Okay, after that, at this point going to say that if this character is uh, not it is not present, then we are not going to do anything. If the map 1 of ch is greater than map 2 of chj, then we are going to release decreasing its frequency. And in the else part, saying that I minus j plus 1 is less than string length, and string length is equals to I minus j plus 1. Okay, is also okay, ij. After that we are decreasing the frequency. Okay, after decreasing the frequency, we are going to check is our answer is less than or not. So it is, if it is less than, then we are going to erase this from answer. At this point we are decreasing our match count and increasing our g. Now our final answer presented here. Okay, we are going to check frequency answer of 1 comma frequency answer of 0 plus 1 minus frequency answer of 1. So for that, okay, it is okay. Okay, so look, so let's check that at this point chj and chj. Okay, at this point we are not going to check that chj into our. So let's try to run. Yes, now we got our main answer 2prac. Okay, let's try to submit this code. Will it be pass all the test cases or not? So it passes all the test cases. So let's try to understand the code what we are written here. So first thing, we are going to initializing our map 1 map 2 and going to create the map 2 first. Okay, after that we are initializing our string length, that means substring length. Okay, substring length. So we are saying that first it is a infinite value. Okay, after that we are saying our match count is 0 for the first time. Okay, we are going to store our first index and last index into our frequency answer array. Okay, after that I is starting from 0, j is starting from 0, I is less than s1 dot length. Okay, so at this point we are starting a loop over s1. Okay, after that finding the character, and that find, if we find that character into our map 2, then we are going to increase the count for that character into our map 1 by 1. And at this point, if it is its count is less than that map 2's count, then we are going to say that increase the match count. Okay, now if our match count is equal to s2 dot length, then we are finding a character ch equals to s1 of j. If we can't find that element into our f1, map 1, then we are nothing to do, we are not going to do anything. Now in else if part, if our map 1's character count is greater than map 2's character count, then we are decreasing the frequency of that character. And in the else part, we are checking I minus j plus 1 is less than str dot length. So str dot length means str length means string length, substring length. Okay, now we are checking that with this. Okay, if it is less than, then we are going to update that and putting this value into our array. After that, decreasing that. If the decreases value is negative, then erase that character from our map. After that, we are going to check that. So after that, we are decreasing the match count also. And after doing this else statement, we are going to increase our j. So at this point, if our s2 is empty, then we are returning empty. And at this point, we have our starting and ending index of that small substring. Okay, so because of that, we are returning this from s1 of s1 dot substring. So this is the code, and I hope you understand the question and the solution of this question. Thank you for watching.